Program directors, Mundwana Ndangene, Unangulu Kwasu, Chairman Sudanis, Intungulu Magwabi, Intungulu, His Worship the Mayor, Pema, King Tetrayo District Municipality, Your Worship, the Mayor of the City of Umhlatuzi, Baba Mngwezi, Your Worship, the Mayor of Umborambi Municipality, Baba Begu, Your Worship, the Mayor of Nkandla, Cheng, Inkosi Keliza, the Chairman of the House of Traditional Leaders, KwaZulu-Natal, Nongosi, Cyril Kaba, Mundwana, Zbindini, Prince Tulani Zulu, Mr. and Mrs. Vivek Kotare, Consul in the Consul General of India, who's stationed in Durban, Mrs. Ngobese, Amakosi Elkona, Inkosi Ntemu, Mr. Omi Singh, Mr. Viren Singh, the Royal Chaplain, Reverend Ntembu, Professor Musakuru, Swamiji, His Holiness Swami Loka Sankarananda, Reverend Baba Mjati, Dr. A.V. Mohammed, Amabuto Kona Msanji, Izinyanele Silo Kona Msanji, the Municipal Manager of the City of Umhlatuzi, Acting Municipal Manager of the City of Umhlatuzi, the Speaker Baba Gumete from the City of Umhlatuzi, and all subjects of the Ngabomba, Ngabingalela Namsanji. In the name of God Almighty. God has a purpose, and He has put us here together today to celebrate the life and times of the late His Majesty King Goodwill Zulu. By His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini Kabeka Zulu. He was a patron of the Shivananda World Peace Foundation. And today, I'm very blessed to have Ntunkulu here today, Sheng and Abandwande today, because we are giving thanks and celebrating the life and times of His Majesty. His Majesty was the honorary patron of the Shivananda World Peace Foundation, who has given tremendous support towards the plight of his people and the country at large. I am delighted that His Excellency Mundwana Pindangene, who is also the honorary patron of the Shivananda World Peace Foundation and who has served the late Swami Sajananda in building schools in South Africa, who is also blessing us here today. We are really honored to have Sheng here. I am delighted to have had the opportunity to pay tribute to His Majesty King Goodwill Zwelithini Kabeka Zulu during this first anniversary of the departure of His Majesty. His Majesty was indeed a king of goodwill, a king of his people. We could never imagine life without His Majesty. Today we sit back and look at his life, and now we manage to foster good relations across the board and across the world. We will continue his legacy, the great king of Africa. His Majesty will be remembered as a much-loved king, visionary monarch who made an important contribution to the cultural identity, national unity, and economic development in KwaZulu-Natal and South Africa at large. Indeed, our king has made the most constant voice and campaigner for peace and unity in South Africa and world at large. It must be said, amidst the sinister forces that sought to foment war and mayhem amongst the Zulu people, His Majesty always stood on the side of those who strive for peace, stability, and prosperity for his people. Today we hail His Majesty, the King of the Zulu nation, for having heard the call of danger which has been rising from within the inner soul of the people, and for having joined with the government and structures of our nation to ensure that the message about HIV and AIDS is understood by all. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19 pandemic, which have robbed us of a great king who walked amongst his people. On a more personal note, I have had the singular honor to have been working with His Majesty since a very young age. And what pained His Majesty was the plight of his people. I salute his king, our king, for peace amongst his people. We've seen so much of tragedy that take place daily. People have intolerance amongst each other. We have seen last year the looting that took place, and we have felt the absence of His Majesty. We are very pleased to hear about the announcement of the monarch, and we wish the king all the very best, and may he take the entire royal family in unity, peace, and bring stability to the country and the province. We wish that peace prevail in KwaZulu-Natal. I want to thank the mayor of the city of Umhlathuze for giving us a year which we never had since 2014. We had a council resolution in 2014, and we would have had the unveiling of the statue of His Majesty a long time ago, but I guess God wills everything, and everything happens by His will. And today we are ready to install His Majesty's statue in the city of Umhlathuze in Richards Bay, which will be the first monument, together with the life and times of His Majesty, inscribed on granite plaques, together with the history of the Zulu nation and various other nations put together, forming this cultural diversity which His Majesty always wanted. I also want to pay homage to His Majesty during his 50th reign, which he longed to see and celebrate. The Shivananda World Peace Foundation had commissioned 50 buses to put throughout the country in various institutions to highlight the contribution of His Majesty through this bus all over our country. And we urge King Ketwayo District Municipality, the city of Umhlathuze, our Mbonambi Municipality, and Nkanda, and various other municipalities, and the government at large, to come on board to support this initiative, to highlight one of our very own. And if we don't do it, we must not be the cause of the lack of understanding of our future generations when it comes to our history. I must say that From a very young age, being with His Majesty, I have learned a lot. He taught me protocol to the royal family. Now I want to share something with all of you. Wherever we come from, wherever we go, give respect. Each person has his own identity. Learn and understand where each other come from. Have tolerance. Tolerance is so important because His Majesty taught me to respect and to understand that each other must be respected equally as thyself. For example, I'll give you, the royal family, there's protocol. One shouldn't even put their hands and never go from behind. These are simple things we need to, as a nation, come together. It's very important, and we must give utmost respect to our Queen Mother, in Mabheka Selo, all our senior leaders, Inkosi Teresa, who represents the House of Traditional Leaders in our province. And I'm very fortunate and proud to say that the Indian community wants to come together and to live up to the legacy of His Majesty and to have one nation which King Shaka Kasa and Zanakwana wanted. This really pains me to see when people disrespect the royal family and they will come, they put hands down, they want a photo. So I'm pleading to all of you, it is my duty to say this in the absence of His Majesty. It's very important that we all understand, not only the royal family, various Amakosis, various professors, doctors, wherever people come from, they have their own set of identity and decorum. Let us learn and have tolerance towards each other in this, because this will be giving a good tribute to His Majesty, because he was very, very, very strict when it came to protocol. Very, very strict. Those that knew His Majesty. And this is what I will carry forth, is His strictness that you must do things right. Do everything in the manner in which God will be proud of you. And His Majesty was a very, one of the biggest persons in our land to always keep God at the forefront. We've seen His Majesty play the piano. 2016, he just started playing the piano, and that was it. And it went on, song after song, song after song. That told me that God, in the form of His Majesty, is playing here. I mean, no one gave formal lessons, nothing. So I'm really privileged to have learned. I am a Zulu of Indian origin, and I'm a proud one. I love what I do. Those that criticize me, let's come and learn and understand why we do this. Because we are building a nation, and we are being tolerant, we are understanding each other's culture, becoming part of it. And that's the only way we can, when we kneel down and pray to God, and our conscience will be clear because our heart is open to embrace everyone, whatever race you are, whatever religion you belong to. So ladies and gentlemen, today I want to say a very big thank you to all of you who have come to pay tribute to my King and our King, a King who have served his people, a King of goodwill. And we want to thank Mabheka Selo for taking care of His Majesty throughout his lifetime in Tumpulu, Wabin, Mazumu, Shenge. We want to thank you for your contribution towards the monarch, your dedication since King Zulu. We follow history, and we want to say as youngsters, thank you Tumpulu, for giving Bayete the life on earth a memorable one and a treasurable one. Because without you all, and Amakhosi, Inkosi Teresa, for your support towards the monarch. We want to thank you. And all Amakhosi, and Mr. Omi Singh, Mr. A.B. Mohammed, Swamiji, and all the Indian leaders, Gopyo, Devon chapter, for coming on board and giving support, because one person had this big idea of building a nation. God has put him there. So all of us must rally behind and give support. That's when we will have the outcome. And that was the result of the success of a king of goodwill we are celebrating today. Bayete,